First of all, it's important to mention that the vast majority of businesses that are started each year have not been launched using a business plan. The usual process is that a founder or founders become enthused by an idea or a product, and they chase making that idea or product a reality. And then they learn as they go along. Often the first time those founders write a business plan is because there is a requirement in order to apply for a business bank loan or because they're going to investors. However, it is another fact that an unfortunate number of startups fail. Now, in all my years of working with startups and ventures, very rarely are these failures strongly linked to the idea or product being fundamentally flawed, or even that the founders are fundamentally unsuitable. The number one reason for the failure of so many startups is they just weren't prepared for what was coming next. Those first few years of starting a business are a roller coaster. There are some elements that can be prepared for and some that you have no control over. And this is why a business plan is so useful. It helps you to identify and plan for both. It helps you build a structure for your business that covers all the aspects of a business that you can control, and then strategies for managing all those things that you can't control. Using something like a business model canvas or similar ensures that you think about all the different aspects of your business. We have a tendency to focus on the bits that we're excited about or afraid of, but we need to give equal thought to all the interconnected aspects of our businesses. You need to think about your customers and what type of relationship you're going to have with them. This could be a completely automated online shop with no personal contact at all, or it could go all the way to a super bespoke Rolls-Royce where the customer has their own staff member throughout the build to work with. Also, how are those potential customers going to hear about your product? What marketing styles and channels are you going to use? You also need to think about the production of your product or service. Are you going to get it made by someone else or in-house? Are you going to need to set up a factory or an office? What resources will you need to do all of that production? If it's a service, who is going to deliver the service? Do you need subcontractors, etc.? You also need to think about your supply chain. What happens if the rare metals that you need for your product suddenly go up in price or your supplier goes bankrupt? There are a whole world of stakeholders you need to think about. The local council for tax and planning rules, an industry regulator who sets the quality rules for your industry, or an insurer who can tell you exactly what you can or can't do. The list goes on. Then you have your costs, both fixed costs, like the year's rent, and your variable costs, like how many tons of raw materials you need to buy based on how many sales you get that year. And then you have everyone's favourite bit, the revenue, or the money that goes into your bank. You need to think about what are your prices and why. How many might you sell over a year and why? Are there different things that they're going to pay for? Do you have multiple products, services? Do you offer insurance, a repair service, etc.? But all of those things are dependent on the most important aspect of any business plan. That is the value proposition. Essentially, what is the true value that you are giving to the customer? Founders often make the mistake of listing features or trying to sell the concept of a product. But really, you need to identify what the true value is. Usually, value is linked to emotion. What emotion are you giving to the customer? Is it a sense of social status, the enjoyment of more free time, a sense of safety, the satisfaction of a more successful business, being able to go and tell their boss that they've reduced downtime for their production line, etc.? What are you giving to them? What is it they're going to feel from getting your product? Customers don't really buy a product, they buy a feeling. The purpose of the business plan is to very clearly and succinctly identify what the value is to your customer, and then map all the actions you need to do to make that happen. The key to a good business plan, especially if you are asking a bank or an investor for money, is a very clear value proposition. You should be able to explain this to anyone, even a complete stranger, within 30 seconds at most. You also need evidence of a thorough and detailed understanding of all the elements and actions required to bring that value to the customer, all those things we just listed. And make sure you have all the numbers ready if you're asking for money. An investor or a bank manager can spot a profit margin a mile off, just like in Dragon's Den, and they know when there isn't enough value, if there isn't enough understanding or detail in your business plan. Use a business plan to help you work out all of this before you start, and then regularly revise the plan as you go to help you weather the roller coaster.